better. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Jenkins Infrastructure Weekly Team Meeting. Today we are 19 November 2024. Reduced audience today. Myself, Damien Duportal. Jay is with us, and Kevin. Stefan is sick. Bruno and Mark are unavailable, and Hervé also. Hello, everyone. So let's get started on announcements. Last week we had the release 2.485 for Jenkins weekly core release. That went well, no issue, no slowness. The release 2.486 started on time with the new rotated credential, so everything is going good. I will take care, since Mark is not there, on creating the right tag. Kevin, I believe you take care of the changelog, is that correct?
Yep, I've got it ready to go. So as soon as I see the next pull request come in.
Cool. I will comment as usual on the Matrix channel Jenkins CI release. I don't know if you are part of this one. I will create a thread with the different steps. Don't hesitate if you do steps. That's a way to synchronize, and we know that everything is good on both sides. Many thanks for the help. Last week we had a security advisory. It wasn't public when we had the meeting last week, so we did not mention it. If your Jenkins instance is not up to date, please update your plugins, because there were some serious security issue on major plugins, pipelines. The infrastructure has been updated on the go, so we are good. That's all from your announcement. Something for you folks? Okay, so let's have a look at the calendar. Next week, the weekly release 2.497 is planned. Be aware that this one might be cancelled in favor of the LTS the day after. More details on this on the mailing list as usual, but be prepared not to have that weekly release. About LTS, we will have a new LTS version next week on Wednesday. That will be 2.479.2, and Chris Stern is the release lead, so we will check with Chris on which hour they want to start the release, ideally as soon as possible in the morning, since Chris is based in Asia, and I wake up early on Tuesdays. As soon as we start, the better it is. Anything on the releases? Nope. Okay, so let's have a look at the official security advisory announce. So the plugin advisory from last week, and we don't have anything else new. So no security release publicly announced. Quick look at the upcoming credential expirations. We have an automated pull request that has been updated by our bot today, which proposed to update the credential used by Packer in Infra CI to connect to Azure. Expiration happened on the 9 December 2024. No rush on fixing this one. We need an issue. We will have this most probably on next week, but just mentioning it now, it's there. The Jenkins election have started. If you haven't voted yet and you have been registered, please go to vote. If you haven't received an email, please contact Mark Waite. Otherwise, thanks for voting and keeping that community healthy and alive. Reminder, end of the year, we will have a 2 weeks release break. So that delays the third LTS for that line to the 8th January 2025, and no weekly during these 2 weeks. And if you are lucky enough, we have first weekend of February, 2 events. The Friday we will in Brussels, we will have Jenkins Contributors Summit, and Saturday and Sunday will be FOSDEM on the Brussels University. Anything else on the upcoming calendar? Cool. Jay, no days off for you until next Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't have any planned days off either. And Stefan is sick. is in sick day since 1 week. He's off officially tomorrow. He should be back Thursday. So only Tiny tasks for him. Jay, looks like your internet is misbehaving. Please, Internet Gateway, behave. So I'm continuing until unless you write something, Jay. A quick look on the Azure CDF budget. Since Jay and I are alone, we don't have Stefan. I didn't have time to update everything. So I don't know what is the current consumption for AWS, and we will check next week. However, on Azure CDF, we have consumed 2.6K. That's a forecast at 4.4K. That's a slight increase. I hope it's related to the new update center. We will have to check in details since it's in production since 24 hours and we run through 2 brownouts since the beginning of the month. So that's been 3 days on the new system. Might be something else. We are still under the threshold, so that's okay. On the Azure sponsorship account, we have consumed 6.3K, which is almost 10K for this month, as like previous month. A bit less activity than October, where the CI Jenkins IO builds were insane, but for good reasons. We hope that in December, this will decrease. And DigitalOcean, as usual, reminder in December, we'll start requesting extension of the sponsorship that expired 2nd January 2025. If we don't have a new sponsorship, we will have to migrate archive Jenkins IO virtual machine somewhere else. So on AWS, I wasn't able to update the credits. So let's continue and we will update them next week. Any question on the cloud consumption? Okay, so let's check the issues of the current milestone. First of all, we were able to rotate 3 credentials that were coming to an expiration. The credentials that are currently being used by the release today, this credential is used to access the Azure Vault, where we store some secrets, such as the certificate used to sign releases. The credential is as a end of life in 3 months, as usual, so we had to rotate it. We also rotated the credential used by Trusted CI to create virtual machine on Azure for its ephemeral agents. And finally, the token, P80 stands for Personal Access Token, used by Infra CI to manipulate DigitalOcean API. That's used by our Terraform project. Then we had a bunch of accounts which have been deleted or blocked. Thanks, Mark, for taking care of this. They were spamming us. We were able to do a major upgrade of the Datadog plugin on CI Jenkins IO. Everything went well. And we also contributed to the release notes of that plugin because on the 8.0 version, there was a breaking change that wasn't advertised easily. We had to find it the hard way inside the issues. But they were absolutely happy with our help, and now anyone doing that upgrade will benefit from our contribution. Yeah. Thanks, Jay, for helping the platform to stay healthy and up to date by adding manifest, update CLI manifest, which tracks some outbound IPs for resources that will need to access the new CI Jenkins IO infrastructure on Amazon. Finally, thanks Chris, thanks Bruno and Tim and Valentin for the work on the GSOC project. So we have migrated 2 GSOC projects that were under Jenkins CI or personal account inside Jenkins Infra. The goal is to ensure that these tools in the future could build additional infrastructure elements or at least are managed by us. The goal is to benefit from the existing infrastructure, especially for distributing command line through Homebrew. We had an issue closed as not planned. We don't need to spend time on this. Anything else on the closed or finished issues? Did I miss something or do you need questions? Nope. Okay. Now, for the work in progress, we have a lot of issues. Top priority is the new update center. So let me add the issues so it's easier to read. So the new update center is in production. Hey, we had 24 hours of nightmarish issues. So let's say we have at least user who cooked errors, but that issue should be closed. I'm keeping it open a few days before anything else. Thanks, Mark, for reacting. So this is what we suspected but never pushed. We decided it wasn't worth the effort. We had users who are still using or are using a tool which called that script, or they are still using that whole script, which has been deprecated 1.5 years ago, and it has been removed in February from the Docker images. So either the tool they are using is not up to date, and I double checked, it's the Kubernetes operator, but since 2022, they have switched to the new Jenkins plugin CLI. So either they update their operator or they update their Docker images. However, some users say they had intermittent issues, and I believe these are other kind of errors. That's why I'm keeping it open so they can answer. That might be, and most probably, are update center new architecture issues. So I was late on the issue to comment in details, but we had a few problems. First problems has been solved earlier today. The front Nginx were two verbose on the rules of the requests coming to the update center. Not only they were printing the access logs, but also the rewrite rules order. So that added gigabytes of data on the local file system that were absolutely cluttering the system. So this has been disabled. Most probably I forgot to disable that verbose behavior. So please don't run verbose in production unless you debug. We also saw a lot of increased activity on the shared file system used by the HTTPD containers. So most probably we will have to change the way, instead of having two containers reading files in the shared file system, which is easy to update. We update it every 5 minutes once. We will need to have distinct containers, each one with a rsync server, and we will have to update all of them at the same time. Nginx was logging rewrites disabled for better performances. Shared file system tends to be slow suddenly for HTTPD containers. Need to update. So I will open a dedicated issue for this one because we will need to go back to the whole system when I will deploy the new solution to avoid any outage. So we will change the CNAME, we'll update the containers, I will prepare the work in advance, and then we will move back. I want to do this so it will be smoothly. Other than that, we saw intermittent issue, but globally it's a success. Globally, a success. Intermittent issues to fix, but we are getting there. And it's not worse than it was before. So the main change is that we did the production deployment on a Monday, while most of the brownouts were Tuesday, Thursday, or Friday. So of course, Monday morning, a lot of things are done differently by people going to the office. That's my theory. We'll see if it keeps working, crossing fingers. So we will see next weekend, most probably. Any question on the new UC? Okay, then on the order of priority, CI Jenkins IO to Amazon. Uh, where's the issue? So Jay, can you give us a heads up on where you are on your part for CI Jenkins IO? I think it was related to the garbage collector for the Packer images in Amazon, right?
Yeah, so the garbage collection works well right now, and it's a distinct job on Packer images. I mean, on Infra CI. So, yeah, we're just configuring the garbage collector to not delete our ci.jenkins.io controller right now, and it should be done by today.
works for MEI and snapshot, WIP on instance security groups. Good. So as a reminder, that is important for the ephemeral virtual machine agents for which we build custom images named MEI in Amazon. These images are accumulating because we do a lot of changes, so we don't want to spend our money on unused resources. As such, the garbage collector is mandatory so that sponsorship is sustainable because we keep the credits for machines that are being used. Um, so next is on the virtual networking. So we had two subtopics for this one. EKS is on hold due to Stefan in sick days. So Stefan was working on the network. He had work in progress in order to have EKS created on the right subnets with the right permission and firewall rules, but that has been interrupted by him being sick. He's back Thursday. We will continue his work as soon as we can. Maybe I will take over, maybe he will take over. I don't know yet, but we will work on this on the upcoming milestone if he's back. If he's not back, I will take over and focus on this soon. On the controller and subnets. So I did a lot of changes that have been reported on the issue. Mainly, we have one subnet removed and the virtual machine for the controller is now on a public subnet directly exposed to the internet. That is something we discovered that in order to have publicly available IPv6, we need the machine to be on the public subnet. IPv4 was working, but we never tried IPv6 until now. So that has been fixed. VM for controller is on public subnet for IPv6. And network security is applied for controller and future VM agents. Not for EKS yet. EKS should take care itself of its own security at the network level. So which means now we start to have a bunch of rules like we have on Azure to ensure that CI Jenkins IO agents cannot reach everything like they want. It's not absolute, of course, we can still hack and have attacks, but that drastically reduce the attack vectors since it's a public website. As such, I was able to create the controller, the initial empty virtual machine. Yes, it's online. If you go on aws.ci.jenkins.io, you have an empty machine which is available on IPv4 and IPv6. Let me update. VM is up, running, and available. Next step, fine-tune configuration and start working on EC2 agents. So Jay, we might have to resume the work. Depends on you if you are overloaded or not, if you want to assist me or not on the EC2 parts. We will have an
Yeah,
initial configuration.
we can resume the work
Cool.
on the ephemeral agents.
VM agents. So the ephemeral VM agents, we can resume working on this. Linux agents are available. GC almost finished. Needs to work on Windows. So I will take care of the Windows MEI if it's okay for you, Jay, while you focus on the garbage collector and the initial configuration on Puppet. Is that okay for you?
Yeah.
Puppet config for EC2 Cloud Agents, Jay, and then Damien. Because I have access to something you don't, but you can already resume the work on the Vagrant controller if need be. I think that's all for CI. So yeah, that one is on hold. On hold. Stefan is in sick days. Okay. Anything else on CI Jenkins IO? Okay. Another thing which is on hold, the GeoIP database. Stefan wanted to spend some time on it. Alas, again, is on. Let me write this only once. Yeah, I'm a bit slow today. Sorry, folks. Okay. Jay, you worked on tracking the base image on Packer image, right? So this
Yeah.
one, you did some new things. Can you remind me which part you were able to finish?
So we were able to track the Linux-based images for Amazon EMI images, to create Amazon EMI images using Packer, and we were also able to track the Linux-based images for Docker, for the Docker Linux builds.
Edit the Docker Linux base images.
Yeah,
So next step, Azure images, if I'm correct, or are they
yeah,
already okay?
Azure.
Azure Linux images. Do you think you will be able to work on this task on the upcoming milestone?
Yeah, I think we need to sync up for that because I have a blocker.
Okay. Windows image for Azure. Azure Linux images need to sync up. J. Damien. Okay. Then, so we have a new issue by Chris. We have missing statistics days for October. Oh, I see a wild Mark Waite appearing. Hello, Mark.
Hey, Mark.
Oh, what did I do? I used a key on my computer that I don't know yet. So we have the 2 last days of October are missing, which impact the whole month in the statistics. For that, we need Kosuke to update new data, the 2 missing days and the November data, and then Andrew to keep track of this. Right now, we have to wait for them. I've let Kosuke know, but he was traveling, and Andrew was also traveling. So yeah, the only thing for now is to wait. So we'll keep that issue open until I have an answer from both of them. Maven Central artifact being downloaded from repo Jenkins CI on hold. I did not add time for this, and it's not a high priority issue. And finally, I've asked question now that we were able to get some recent plugin data. Looks like the issue opened by James Nord, I've added it on the milestone, is now, I thought it was going to be closed, but in fact, there are still some things to do. I'm not really sure what has to be done. Looks like answer have been written. I've read the comments and I still don't know what's the problem. So I've I think if it's okay for everyone, I will add a message saying I need help and I need someone to take care of that because I have no idea how that things work. I don't know, Mark, if you have more details on this one or if you are like me, clueless. Don't think Mark has sound or is writing. Mark, can you hear us? Ah, okay, cool. Ah, okay, sound is missing. No problem. So I propose we delay this one because yeah, we have too much work here, and I will add a message after the meeting to let James and Daniel know. Sorry, on hold. Need help to fix. Okay, so we covered everything. So the upcoming milestone will be mostly spent on CI Jenkins IO and working on the update center, watching and optimizing. A few elements though. we have some issues in triage. Two are for you, Jay, if you are able to finish the other task, of course. Otherwise, they remain in triage. But if you feel like you're ready to roll, I will assign this issue to you, but I won't put them on the milestone. It's up to you to decide if you have time to work on them or not. You can start them, but only do it if you really start working on them. These two
Yeah,
issues
you
are
can assign them to me.
Mhm. Both of them are update CLI manifest to track that I had back in my backlog.
Yeah.
One I would like to add is the effective removal of blue ocean from all of our controllers. We delayed that a few months ago. We worked on a previous issue opened by Ulrich Hafner, particularly around what kind of usage. I was the first to refuse removing blue ocean back in time because I was using it. I haven't opened blue ocean since the past 6 months now, thanks to the huge work that has been done on the pipeline graph viewer. So my proposal is we start removing these plugins, at least on our private controllers, and we can go up to CI Jenkins IO. For CI Jenkins IO specifically, I will send an email to the developer mailing list, and we will wait at least 1 week. With no answer, we will remove it effectively. If someone complains, then we will keep it for the time being. We also have an issue. So thanks, Kevin. Thanks, Tim. We have external users struggling to submit story to stories.jenkins.io. That one scares me because I have no idea what is that thing. Netlify CMS, I never heard about it, so I run a platform with a tool I never heard about it. I guess that has been done by Gavin Mogan in the time or team, I don't know. And it looks like that CMS needs some authorization to access GitHub. I guess that's a kind of CMS that might post data in the repository stories for stories Jenkins IO. So we need to search for data on this one. Is there documentation, traces of what has been done and installed and set up? I'm absolutely blind, so if you have any clue on this one, what Gavin did, I will happily read them. If it is that it work for people who are member of the Jenkins, yeah, that. So I'm thinking, Kevin, Mark, is there a way for you to work with the person who are contributing? So you push the data in the code, and then we still publish the story. Can we wait to publish these stories that the problem is solved, or something else? I'm not really sure how to solve the user-facing problem here.
I can definitely reach out to the user. I've already been in contact with them through the original pull request to add them to the adopters page and
Mhm.
find out if they'd be okay with me submitting it on their behalf. That's not a problem. If they feel strongly about wanting to submit it themselves and are willing to wait, we can go from there. But I can find out for
Mhm.
sure what they're willing to work with us on.
Okay. In any case, if it goes through a pull request, something that could be tried, even if they don't mind, will be you starting the pull request through the CMS UI, and then we have them pushing data on the pull request. I think that could be done. The trick is that we'll create a pull request from a branch. So then they open a pull request on the branch. So we will have a pull request of a pull request. If we merge in the right order, they will be marked as co-author of the commit. So that will solve the intellectual property of the source code while keeping someone like you or Mark in control of who posts when in the CMS. That will be a short-term patch. Of course, it's not sustainable, but that will help publishing the story without being blocked by this.
Okay, cool. Thanks, David. And once we figure out what the plan will be, can I just partner with you or just check in with you before we start merging stuff?
Absolutely. I need to comment on this issue once when I will add it to the new milestone, so that will give the indication. And yeah, maybe it's an easy fix, but I have no idea. So I need to read doc and spend time, which I cannot spare right now.
Sure. Yeah, no, understandable. Thank you very much.
For the rest of the issues, all of these issues are waiting in behind. So yes, the Packer images part, as we said, I will start working on this one. ECR it's for later, ACI later, ephemeral Linux container later. And then we have all the JDK 21 thing. We are already switching from Intel to ARM for CI Jenkins IO, so I propose we delay a few weeks the JDK 21. That's all I have on the issues. Let's check if we have new issues. We
And
don't.
I have audio now, I think.
Oh, yes. Oh, that's a weird audio though.
Yeah, sorry, it's my phone.
Oh, that's why. Okay. So is there anything you want to add or cover, Mark, even if we already covered it?
No, other than, yes, we'll find a way to make the CMS work for us. We'll find a workaround. Don't worry about it. That's low priority in my mind. We'll find a way to make it work.
Okay, cool. Many thanks. So then I will stop the recording. So for people watching us, see you next week. And for the other, just wait a minute so we can say insanity after we stop recording, of course. Bye bye for people watching us. See you next week.